So far we've looked at Le'Veon Bell mode, which altered game speed, then we took a look at Aaron Rodgers mode, which altered the difficulty. Today we're looking at a John Ross mode, which is a speed parity scale modifier. Now you may be thinking to yourself, but John Ross isn't even in Madden 17 outside of Ultimate Team, and you are right, but once you activate John Ross mode, he'll appear on your team. So to turn this mode on, you go to the player speed parity scale under player sliders in game options. So once you're here, you move the slider down to 4, and now we're going to put it at 5 so I can explain exactly how this works. Now once it's on 4, you have to wait 4.22 seconds, and the best way to measure the exact time is simply to watch John Ross run the 40-yard dash, and as soon as 4.22 seconds are over, you put the scale up 1, and rather than it going to 5, it will switch to 4.22. And that is it. John Ross mode is activated, and you'll find him waiting on your team. So what I'm going to do here, what I normally don't do, is play with the camera zoomed out a little bit. And now what would be the first thing you do with John Ross on the team if you knew he was going to burn everyone? You would of course play streaks. Now we've got a little bit of a problem here because we put the defense in random and we can already see they're blitzing a safety off the right side. So hopefully we can have enough time. With John Ross, you don't really need that much time, just enough time to let it go, and he will burn whoever was covering him and walk into the end zone. Now let's run this same play out of a cover 2 look, because obviously that's a little bit more difficult. But again, it's not really that difficult, just give him a chance to beat the guy. Even if he's in deep coverage, John Ross is going to get behind him. Now of course, something else you can do with John Ross is give him some quick slants. Let him take it short and run the rest of the way into the end zone. Now find a little gap there, and then you just got to beat everybody, and that's exactly what John Ross can do. Not a chance. So we've seen the basic plays that fast players of course can do very well. The streaks were obvious, the slant is something else you can really take advantage of his speed with. But of course, something else you can do with him is give him a couple of screens. So some real simple screens here, and we just throw the ball to him, let him get behind the blocks, and there we go, we already know he's gone. Those guys down there are never going to catch him, and he's in the end zone. So what I also wanted to take a look at, and we've got a good chance here, is to do this when there's some off coverage, because I think it actually makes it a little bit harder. So let's see exactly how this works, because we've got to wait for Brandon LaFell to make his block. And then, of course, with our speed, we can just, wave at that safety as we run past him into the end zone. Now, outside screens, smoke screens, whatever you want to call them, aren't the only thing we can play here. And this is going to work really well because we can see they're about to send the entire house. What we can also do is run some bubble screens. So let's see how this one goes. Now, I'm not the best at throwing these, but that should be enough time for him to go. And he's off. You cannot send the house if you've got John Ross on the outside. And with the bubble screen perfectly timed, he's in. Now what we've got here is a look I prefer much more. We've got 3 defensive backs there. We've got a linebacker who'll be pretty quick there. Actually, I don't even know who all those people are. We've got a couple of linebackers that'll be there quickly. So let's see what happens on this play. There's a blitzing corner from the other side. John Ross is going to have to pull some moves. Brandon LaFell makes a block for half a second. Half a second is all this man needs. So the reason we're at the 50-yard line is because just because John Ross is on the team, Andy Dalton doesn't magically have more arm strength. Now, at the 50-yard line, we can comfortably throw the ball deep enough for John Ross to catch it in the end zone. What we want to run here is a deep play action pass. Now, this is kind of a two-parter. One, of course, it gives John Ross more time to get downfield. However, the trade-off for that is we get a little bit more pressure because 1, they're coming down for the pass, and 2, we have to wait a little bit longer. But we're going to run this one, hopefully have enough time to be able to hit John Ross once he gets behind everybody. Looks like we'll be able to find him there in the end zone, away from everybody. They didn't stand a chance. He makes the catch and has a touchdown. Now, I'm not sure what this is, but those safeties are very low. Looks like it could be 0. Now, of course, another thing that John Ross is good for, he isn't just here to run those routes and catch those passes. When you've got a guy like John Ross on the team who can, take the top off a defense, what that does is it clears up a lot of space for somebody maybe coming across the middle, if you know what I mean. So AJ Green here is going to be wide open if we give John Ross enough time to come across, pull that safety away, and look at that space it gives AJ Green. Now, it's not always going to go all the way, but that's a huge completion. Now, one final play we can also run with John Ross, which of course, fits his speed. And one final play we will run before we start some, small challenges that are nowhere near challenges, is an end around. An end around, of course, give him the ball in his hands and let him just use his speed to get past everybody. And this really isn't going to be much of a problem for him. Guys there had a chance to get him, but they don't have the speed to get him, and he takes that one in. So let's start some 99-yard challenges. Now, like I said, these challenges aren't really challenges because even though we're, on the half-yard line, there's no difference to completing this this deep and completing it at the 50-yard line, especially for John Ross, who's, once he's caught it, is going to get past everybody. But a challenge is a challenge, and we have to complete them here just to prove how ridiculous John Ross is. He'll catch that slant straight away and scream away from everybody. Look at him, how fast he is, and I'm starting to get bored because it's, 99 yards is quite the distance. We can, of course, also get a, streak play out of the way, but with single safety coverage, which they've just shown us, it's not going to be a challenge. At least the cornerbacks are playing off, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But you just got to give him enough time, stretch your arm strength as far as you can, and he'll be there to receive the ball, actually beat the ball, had to come back slightly for it, and he's in the end zone, and, these 99-yard catches aren't a thing. So I figured for the 99-yard run challenge, again, I'm diminishing the effect of the word challenge right now. This isn't a challenge, but we'll run it out of the other formation. You can run this out of the trip bunch right, and then, Eifert is a lead blocker for us. That's pretty much the only difference. So we hand the ball off. Eifert got there in time. AJ Green making a nice block downfield. And here we are again. I do really get bored. By the time we hit the 50-yard line, it's kind of time to go to sleep because John Ross is obviously going to make it. And there we go. This is John Ross mode. And no matter where you are on the field, John Ross mode is John Ross mode, and the guy is faster than everybody else. Let's, run this out of here, and it's going to be pretty much just as easy as long as Andy Dalton doesn't drop back out of the end zone. Again, look, past everybody, and he's off. The difference with John Ross compared to some other players, of course, that have been quite fast and receivers is the fact he can catch. So that is it for Madden 17 John Ross edition, and remember, when you try and activate it, that you have to move the scale up by 1 at exactly 4.22 seconds. So if you don't get it to work, you must just not be getting the timing right. The first 3 of these have of course been offensive ones, and although there are still some offense-themed additions to look at, the next one should be a defensive one. And I say should as if I don't have complete and full control over the process. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you around for another one.